Hello and welcome to another edition of Lion Pride Sports. I'm Neil Fischer. The men's volleyball program had a very tough schedule coming into the 2019 season and has 4 more regular season games remaining. Today we'll bring in men's volleyball head coach Joe Kosciw to speak about how conference has been going and what to look forward to the remaining of the season. After that, the first-year head coach of the Lindenwood track and field team will join us to go over how the indoor season went and what to look forward to as the outdoor season begins. But first, Coach Kosciw, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You guys have 4 more regular season games remaining. What's been the mindset going through conference?
Mindset going through conference is let's continue to focus on ourselves. Let's try to make sure that we're hitting stride at the right time, especially this back third of the conference slate, and make sure that we put ourselves in a good spot for the conference tournament.
In the beginning of conference, you kind of took the Quincy game and then took the Ohio State game, and then it kind of went soft for a little bit in the win column and then got back up on it against Ohio State this past weekend.
Right, yeah, we kind of hit a rough patch. You know, the Chicago schools are pretty solid. The Indiana schools, are tough in the defensive aspect. So now that we're going to be back on the home court against the Indiana schools, hopefully we can get those to swing in our favor and, like I said, trend in the right direction going to the Chicago schools.
Yeah, what are you seeing from the Indiana schools and the Chicago schools that isn't clicking for your team?
They have some of the Chicago schools that have some experience. They have a lot of guys that have been to the big stage in terms of making it to the tournament, and they consistency over time. They're there and they're at the top. So that's where we're trying to get, and our guys are starting to click a little bit in terms of that aspect.
Have you guys learned a lot from the last time you played both of these teams and in previous years going into this weekend against Ball State and Purdue Fort Wayne?
I think so. The conference grind and the non-conference slate was kind of prep us for this point of the year. So we've been really focused and dialed in the last couple of weeks of practice, and we're hoping that continues.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on is at the beginning of the season, it was just mayhem. You guys facing UCLA, Long Beach State, going out to California, facing good schools out there. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like for the players and yourself looking back on that?
I know against the West Coast schools, that's always great to compete against the top schools. And, you want to give it your all. You want to prove yourself out there. So, we did that, I think, against UCLA and Long Beach. They're a tough team. Right now they're number 2 in the nation, and they're a very good team. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be back in the national championship. But at the same time, the trip out west, it was a great time for team bonding. Volleyball wasn't the greatest out there, but at the same time, we competed against UC Santa Barbara, who's a really good team and a top 5 team. And I think there was a lot of team bonding, team building that we did.
And has that team building helped to get you guys to – you guys are 1 win away from what you guys had last season in 9 wins. Mm-hmm. You guys are at 8 wins right now. So has that helped you grow as a team this year?
Yeah, I think so. It kind of adds fuel to the fire to constantly keep improving, and ultimately that's kind of what we want to see is, everything's not going to be results-based right out of the gates. It's going to be let's continue to keep trending in the right direction, and that's where we're hoping to get to.
So if somebody comes out to the game on March 29th against Ball State, who are they going to look for and to be the player of the game, so to speak?
That's tough because we kind of made a couple tweaks to the lineup, so we're going to have to kind of wait and see. It's a little bit of everybody. We had a balanced scoring attack last weekend against Ohio State, so that's a tough one for me to pinpoint right now. Okay,
so what did you like from the Ohio State game that you are trying to carry over into this week?
The guys had a little bit of an edge and a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They're a little bit hungry to make sure that we keep hitting stride and we finish strong in this back half of conference. We've always been preaching this entire year of, let's focus on hitting our stride at the right time. And that was a good start right there, and hopefully we can continue that this weekend.
What is the stride that you're mentioning that you guys want to hit? What is the goal that you guys are looking for?
To play our best volleyball that we have all year. With that non-conference and with the conference grind, that kind of prepares you throughout that back half of the conference swing and into the conference tournament. So can we take bits and pieces of those matches and fine-tune that to make sure we get the best out of our guys?
Do you guys think that you're the underdogs going into these last 2 weeks against the Indiana and Chicago schools, that you have a point to prove going into these games?
I wouldn't really say it's a point to prove. I think, yes, we are the underdogs, but that's always going to be the motivation for our guys. They kind of enjoy that and relish in the moment in that, and that kind of gets the best volleyball out of them.
So going into the season, what were you expecting out of the conference standings at this point in the season, if not just 2 weeks down the road going into playoffs?
That's a good question. To be honest, I thought it was going to be where it kind of is right now. There's somewhat of a clear-cut number 1 with Lewis right now, but Loyola is right there behind them, and then everyone else it's kind of a dogfight, day in and day out. That's kind of how our conference is. So it's going to be an interesting last 2 weeks here because there's a lot that could happen in the standings in these final 4 to 5 matches for everybody.
And what are the characteristics of the Lewis and Loyola teams that stands out that the other teams don't really have yet?
For them, it's mostly some of the experience, the senior leadership that they have. They have a great foundation with their coaching staff. They have a good rapport. They have that expectation that they should be at the top every single year. And kind of like I said, that's where we want to get, is to make sure that we keep trending up and get to that spot to where we could have that same mantra, that same mentality.
So what are practices like this week going into the Ball State and Purdue Fort Wayne? Do you focus on one over the other, or do you kind of just focus on them both and take time to collectively go over all of the info?
We primarily focus on ourselves, especially on Tuesday and a little bit on Wednesday, and then Thursday and some of Friday, especially before the Ball State, and even especially Saturday for Purdue Fort Wayne. That's when we'll start to break down more of the film with the guys, making sure that we're going to have positional video sessions and then an overall general video session with the guys.
The health of the team is always a question at the end of the season. What is it like right now? Is everybody healthy, or is everybody ready to play, or what's going on?
There's a couple of little bit of nagging injuries, but at this point, everyone knows we got to buckle up, be ready to go, and let's fight through some of the pain that may not be the severe pain that's hurting, but yeah, there's going to be the aches and pains of going through the grind of 3 straight months of playing volleyball. Last
year at the end of the season, you guys had the same exact schedule as you do right now, going into the end of the 2019 season, and was your mindset the same as is right now compared to last year when you guys upset Loyola?
Last year it was kind of, what do we have to lose? And, we don't have a target on our back, and let's go out and, take some teams by surprise. And this year it's, let's focus on ourselves and let's continue to hit stride. So it's changed a little bit, but at the same time, we still want to play our best volleyball at this time of year.
When you guys faced off against Loyola, were they kind of trying to get back at you or anything like that from last year? Did you see anything in their game that was like, oh, wow, these guys are out to get us because of what we did last year? You could feel a little bit of it, but I don't know if directly there was. But you could feel that there was a lot of urgency on both sides in that match. We wanted to obviously continue to keep that winning streak going on our home floor, but at the same time, we get the opportunity to go try to do that at their place in 2 weeks. And how difficult is that to go to Lewis and Loyola, 2 top schools in the nation, and play at their home arena? Yeah, Loyola on their home floor they're a tough team to beat. The arena's great, the atmosphere is great. They have a kind of a video board that runs the length of the background, so that's kind of tough to fight through that at times. But at the same time, if we play our game, we know that we're capable of, giving our best against that team. Lewis is going to kind of have a lot riding on that match too, because it's their senior night, so they're going to go out and play for those guys. So, we have to show up, play, compete our best, and hopefully play our best volleyball that night. And when you guys go to Chicago, what do you get for the team to eat? So usually one of the nights there's guaranteed to be some sort of deep dish pizza. I'm originally from the Chicago area, so at some point there's going to be some sort of deep dish, or if not, it's probably going to be Portillo's involved too. See, that's what I was thinking. I love Portillo's. Every time I go to Chicago, I'm like, all right, where is the closest one? Because I need to go there right now. Yep, those are the 2. But speaking of senior night for Lewis, you guys have your senior night on Saturday against Purdue Fort Wayne. Speak a little bit about the 3 seniors that are being nominated. Yeah, Adam and Connor, they've been great assets to the program for the last 4 years. They've come a long way. I've been with them from the beginning pretty much. So Adam's been a great leader in terms of running the offense for the last 4 years, knowing the style of play that we want. Connor's developed a lot. He kind of looked like a lost puppy when he first got here, and then kind of grew into a man, which is kind of crazy to see. But those 2 are going to be key losses. And then Ben Simmons, he had Ryan Vorder in front of him for the previous few years, but all throughout the previous 3 years that he was there, he was a great serving sub, defensive role. He was solid in the back row whenever we needed somebody to go back there, and he's done a good job this year, in some of the libero roles that we've given him and taken and running that position. And how's Ben's leadership been coming off the bench? Because I know a lot of seniors have the mentality of, they want to play, but there's also those seniors that are huge team guys and great guys to have on your bench, and those are the guys you need to win those tough games against Loyola, Lewis, Ball State, and Purdue Fort Wayne. So how's he been on the bench for you?
He's been great. We have 2 underclassmen, I guess 3 underclassmen liberos right now, and he's been doing a great job, informing them of how to get acclimated to the position, knowing what they're going to be looking for, especially behind there. And the thing that I've always been an advocate of for him is to keep having a voice and keep being vocal. And I think he's done a good job getting that and getting accustomed to that this year.
And then, of course, Connor and Adam have been leaders for a while now for this team. But what impact have they made off the court, in the weight rooms, in training, in the stuff that nobody sees? What have they done to help this team grow?
Yeah, Connor's just kind of a workhorse in the weight room, so the guys tend to follow his lead in there. And Jason's, our strength coach, has done a great job with that too. So with those two kind of tag teaming it, there's kind of been a lot more accountability in the weight room. Adam, on and off the court, he's going to have a voice, and his opinion is going to be strongly held by himself, and he holds the expectations of the standards of the team very high, and that's something I appreciate of him, and I know that the guys are appreciative of as well, because he wants to see the program succeed, and so does everybody else, and those are things that are going to be greatly missed by us.
And what do you guys have in store for Saturday night? Do you have a big ceremony, balloons, anything, posters?
The guys will get shadow boxes of their framed jerseys, and there'll be a little speech pregame, and then after that, I know that all the families kind of come down for senior night, and they go out for a dinner after.
When I was in high school playing baseball, my coach was he cried a little bit, but are you a type of speech cry kind of guy, or no?
No, that's not really how I operate. It'll be a good hug, and thank you for everything that you guys have done for us and for this program. And I don't think there'll be that many tears that'll be shed, but they're great guys, and they're huge losses for the program. They've carried us, to where we need to be, and the way that we've kind of relayed what we expect out of them is we want them to be the foundation and to look back on what their legacy here was to make sure that this program is going to keep trending in the right direction.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck to you. That will do it for Lindenwood men's volleyball head coach Joe Kosciw. Catch them play at Highland Arena March 29th and March 30th against Ball State and Purdue Fort Wayne. Coming up, we'll speak with Lindenwood track and field head coach about what to expect from the outdoor season next on Lion Pride Sports.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Welcome back to Lion Pride Sports. I'm Neil Fischer. Lindenwood Track and Field has finished up their indoor season and is preparing for their outdoor season. Joining the show now is first-year head coach at Lindenwood, David Nicholson. Coach, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. The first year at Lindenwood, how's it been?
It's been great. We had some great success this year. Everybody's super friendly still at the end, heading towards the end of the year. I'm having a good time.
That's always good to hear that you're having a good time and that everybody's friendly, because if everybody wasn't friendly then you probably wouldn't have a good time.
Wouldn't be nice.
So how'd the indoor season go?
Indoors went really well. We had a bunch of kids who competed at a really high level. Conference at MIAA's was excellent. We had a bunch of kids at the top competing really well. And then our national championship meet, we had a stroke of luck and had some All-Americans. We had 4 of 4 go make All-American, and it ended really, really well. Couldn't have asked for more.
So speak a little bit about the 4 All-Americans. That's a huge part of the program and a major accomplishment.
Yeah, huge accomplishment for us. Last year we had one during the indoor season. We had one All-American last year. This year we were very fortunate to get 2 young ladies who were both in the top 10 going into the meet, that both All-Americaned and bettered their positions. And then we had two young men in the 800 and in the mile, Sam Yarrow and Jared Broadbrooks, who got in kind of towards the last 2-3 guys in the meet and really raced themselves into a final and put themselves in positions to make the podium. So it was great. It was fantastic.
So leading up to the championships in the MIAA conference, what is the style of training like leading up? Because it's a pretty long and grueling season. You transfer right from indoor to outdoor.
Yep.
And no break, really.
No break. And for our distance guys, they're going into their 8th and 9th month of training. For the sprinters and hurdlers, they're looking more around like 6 to 7 months. We really just have denser periods of training, so higher intensity, higher volume during those early parts of the season, and then we taper down, we cut back leading into the championship segment of the season. Just hoping for fresh legs and some opportunities to race well.
And you guys had your first outdoor meet. Was there fresh legs, and did they compete well?
We did. We went to Rhodes College down in Tennessee, and we had some fresh legs. Some kids ran really well. Ariel Jackson came off of her national championship appearance and ran the very next week, provisionally qualified in the 100 meters. We had some freshmen, Antonio Norman for one, who ran really well in the 400-meter hurdles. Our pole vault crew came out and performed very well. So we did. We had some fresh legs as we transitioned right into outdoor season, and hopefully we can continue on the same the rest of the spring.
Now, Ariel Jackson, does everybody that goes to the national championships and gets all the accolades do that? They go right from that national championship to the next weekend they go outdoor?
Some people across the country do. There's a fair amount. Some decide to take some rest and then recycle for the end of the outdoor season. On our group, we had a variety, right? We had most of our national championship competitors took off and are just getting reset for the outdoor season. She was one where we felt that we had an opportunity to continue on our little peak and run really well, and we did. So it was very nice, and now we get to hit the reset button and get started, go late into the spring.
And you guys get to hit the reset button in St. Charles. You guys get to stay home for the week. What is the practices going to be like leading up to the Wash U and Lindenwood Invitation?
So right now, most of the work's been done throughout the course of the fall and the winter season. So really what we're looking at is just maintaining all of our strength and all of our speed that we've gained and being able to just start putting that down into some early season outdoor races. So this week we're gonna, we've already taken it light yesterday as a Monday and kind of just reacclimated ourselves to the week of training. Today will be a higher intensity day for us on Tuesday, and we'll recover again on Wednesday. Pretty much from distance to vaults, jumps, all the way down, it's a pretty fair assessment of how our week is going to go. We go, 2 on heavy and 1 day light, maintaining our weight room every week, 3 times a week, and hopefully shooting for some good performances at Wash U on Friday. We'll be running 5K and 10K distances for our distance crew, and then coming back on Saturday and getting everybody else rolling here at home.
So what are practices like for the 10K and 5K crew? Do you just say, all right, run?
It would be nice if we could just send them out just to run, but most of their days are structured with maybe what a normal person would consider a longer than normal warm-up, right? You go out for a half-hour run just to get loose, to get ready to do a workout, and then they're doing repeat efforts as far as high as a mile, 1,000 meters, 800s, and then some days they have threshold runs or tempos where they're doing 90 minutes of continuous running, and they're trying to hit certain benchmarks for those mile splits. So it can be a lot of volume, but that's what we train for. They make sure that they're keeping their bodies healthy and putting themselves in a good position to have quality training sessions. We try not to over-race our student athletes or over-compete them, so it's very important that we have very well planned out sessions throughout the course of the week.
And you talk about they warm up for 30 minutes just to get their workout started. For the average person running a half marathon or something, they probably just walk up to the line and say, all right, let's go.
Yeah. So for us, I mean, the distance guys and ladies putting in and having a capacity to train is very important, right? Logging miles throughout the summer and then throughout cross-country season and indoor, and being able to have that maintenance. We want to be as efficient as possible. So yeah, not what a normal weekend runner would think for a workout session, but they're logging maybe 10 miles a day plus just-in warm-up training session and then cool down. And then on their easy days, taking it easy for 8 to 10 miles again is something you have to be specially built for. So we're really proud of our distance crew and how they're holding on throughout the course of the year.
And what's the mindset like while you're in one of those races? Just put me through it, because you can't listen to music. So
nope.
What are you thinking about?
No
while
headphones. No headphones for 5K and 10K. Basically, what we're worried about is positioning, right? Just like any NASCAR race, like where you are in the pack. Are you in the lead pack? Are you hitting your splits through each lap, right? And then are we staying in good mental headspace, right? Who knows? I mean, I was a sprinter when I was in college, so I didn't run that many laps on a track. I wasn't on there for 25 laps, but we try to make sure that we have just positive outlook through the entire course of the race. Usually they're counting numbers in their head as far as what they've come through for every 400 meters, right, every quarter mile, and making sure that they're on track with that, and then pushing and making the correct moves, whether it be up in the field, riding the rail, staying to the outside shoulder of somebody so we're not getting clipped with our legs, those kinds of things. Just being conscious of our race and aware of where we are. Yeah.
So is there a style of coaching that you go to your student athletes and say, all right, this is what we want to do, look over video maybe, and say, I want to stick next to this person towards the whole race or something like that?
Yeah, so we definitely have different styles for each athlete, depending on who they are and their background and what their strengths are. Some like to run in the front, some like to start in the back and then kind of count heads as they move up in the field. It just depends. Coach Cole does a great job with our long distance crew and making sure that they're set up with being able to execute their game plans on race day and being able to move appropriately within their range of fitness at that time. So they're all set up with an individual race plan, and then each one is responsible to go out and execute. We do our best to yell when we're on the sidelines and make sure that they understand kind of where they're at. But other than that, it's on the athlete to make sure that they're conscious of where they are in the field and then going through their progressions and their game plan as best as they can.
And looking over to the field part of the track and field, do you look over that part too as well?
Well, I kind of look over everybody to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're executing and doing what we need to do. Coach Cochran and Coach Walker are our field coaches for the throws, Coach Broderick for the pole vault, and Coach Logan for the horizontal jumps and the high jump as well. So each one of those respective areas has their own kind of head coach, if you will, that makes sure that within their own disciplines they are doing what they need to do. And my job is to basically make sure that they have the resources available and the correct mindset going into the weekend. So I just head everything up. I just stand there and clap and tell them to turn left or jump high and far, and everybody else, all my other coaches help make sure this all happens.
So are they throwing far and jumping high?
They are. Allison Hinson, one of our senior athletes, just posted a provisional mark last week at Rhodes as well. She's sitting in a pretty good position nationally. And then Emily Montgomery in the hammer throw will be doing well as well. She's doing a great job, opened up her season right on top of her personal best. So we're looking forward to seeing what they can do throughout the rest of the spring.
So the Linwood Invitational will be on Saturday.
Yep.
What do you look forward to? Do you try and win that one every single time and win everything in the Linwood Invitational, or what goes through your mind?
We have a great opportunity with our sport to be very linear in nature, right? We don't have to necessarily worry as much about the regular season. Yes, there's still opportunities to win meets or to win events, but really what we're looking for is competing at our best at the end of the season. Right? So we don't have to necessarily worry about a qualifying position to be top 8 to be able to make it to a conference tournament. What we're looking at is making sure that we've done enough work, substantial amount of work and quality work, so that when the time is right, we perform at our best. So this weekend, we plan on going out and posting some great marks and continuing to improve. But when it comes down to it, we want to make sure that when we're at the national championship or we're at our conference championship at MIAAs this spring, that we're going to be able to perform at our best when it matters the most.
And looking at goals, you have your big goals and then your medium-sized goals and then the smaller goals for times and such things like that. Do you guys do a lot of that? Creating smaller goals to get to that bigger goal?
Oh, of course. When we're in training and practice, whether it's hurdle practice or sprints or relays, we always look at the small details and small goals that we have to accomplish during those training sessions to be able to make sure that we can put the big picture together, whether it be on that Saturday or towards the end of the year. So it's just a continual building block of being able to put together those right things and string together the details in the small weeks, and then being able to put it together at the end of the year.
So if somebody comes out on Saturday to watch the Lindenwood Invitational, what should they look forward to? What would be a good race or a good field
event to look for? Number one, I'd have to say Erin Hodge in the 100-meter hurdles. She was third in the country this indoors for the 60-meter hurdles. She'll be opening up her outdoor season this weekend at the John Creer. So I think the women's 100-meter hurdles will be a race to watch. Also the men's 400, Sam Yarrow will be running the 400 and reopening up his outdoor season as well. He was an All-American in the 800. Our men's pole vault will be pretty good. Derek Yock, senior of ours, Clayton Fonke, freshman, will be vaulting out there this weekend, and that should be pretty good. Hopefully the wind will be at our back and we'll be able to vault pretty high. Trey Green, a senior in the hammer throw, will be substantially ready to go. I mean, he's done a great job of working himself into shape this year, and he'll be hopefully throwing far as well. So we have a little bit of variety of everything. We have high jump, we have Antonio Norman running in the hurdles again, Anna Tyan in the high jump, and a bunch of kids everywhere. So should be fun.
That's good to hear. Good luck, Coach. Thank you to Coach Nicholson and Coach Kosciw for joining the show for this edition. Catch the men's volleyball team compete in Highland Arena March 29th against Ball State as they wrap up their season, while the Lindenwood track and field team will compete in the Lindenwood Invitational March 30th. That will do it for this episode of Lion Pride Sports. I'm Neil Fischer. Thanks for watching.